The winter sun dipped behind the horizon, casting a glow over through the windows inside a cozy apartment, and the silence was broken only by the occasional rustling of pages from a book. Vian sat on the couch, her eyes over the words on book, but her mind was elsewhere, caught in the maze of her husband's aloof demeanor. Jungkook was a man of few words. His stoic presence often filled the room with an unspoken tension, but Vian had learned to read the language of his silence. He was cold, yes, but his actions spoke volumes. Each morning he made sure her favorite coffee was ready. He never missed a chance to check on her, ensuring her safety. When she fell ill, he would sit by her side, his eyes betraying the worry his lips refused to express. Their marriage was a delicate dance, a silent symphony where words were sparse, but the melody of their actions played on. Vian understood Jungkook's behavior. She never forced him to talk. She never demanded the warmth he found difficult to show. Instead, she filled the spaces between them with her own light. She would talk to him about her day, her dreams, her fears, and he would listen, his eyes softening while listening to her. On this particular evening, Vian had a request. Her best friend Taeyong had recently returned from a long trip and she wanted to visit him. She approached Jungkook, who was sitting by the window, lost in thought. His gaze shifted to her as she spoke. Jungkook, she began, her voice gentle. Taeyong's back in town. I was thinking of visiting him tomorrow. Would that be okay with you? There was a pause as Jungkook considered her words. He wasn't a man who easily shared his feelings, but he respected Vian's decision. Finally, he nodded. Okay, he said simply, his voice deep and calm. Relief washed over Vian and she smiled. Thank you, Jungkook, she said, moving closer to him. She placed a soft kiss on his cheek, her affection like a warm breeze against his cold exterior. He didn't move away. Instead, he seemed to lean into her touch. The next day arrived with a bright sun and a clear sky, the perfect setting for Vian's visit with Taeyong. She dressed in her favorite outfit, the one she knew Jungkook liked, and after a quick breakfast she was ready to go. Jungkook, as always, ensured she had everything she needed before she left, watching her with his usual silent intensity. Have a good time, he said as she headed out the door. Thank you, Jungkook, she replied with a smile, feeling a rush of affection for her stoic husband. She gave him a quick kiss before leaving, his skin cool against her lips. Then Vian made her way to Cozy Cave, where she and Taeyong had decided to meet. They both met at a cave, a favorite spot of theirs. As they sat by the window, sipping on iced coffees and catching up on life, their laughter filled the air. They talked about their old memories. It was a perfect afternoon. Meanwhile, back at home, Jungkook found himself restless. Jungkook decided to surprise Vian by joining her at the cave. She had told him the place and he thought it would be a nice gesture to show up and spend time with her and her friend. Perhaps it would also put his mind at ease. When Jungkook arrived at the cave, he paused outside the window. His heart felt heavy as he saw Vian and Taeyong inside laughing together. They looked so happy, so close. He watched as Taeyong leaned in to say something, making Vian laugh even harder. Then she hugged Taeyong, a simple gesture of friendship, but to Jungkook it felt like a punch to the gut. He stood there frozen, trying to quell the storm of emotions inside him. Jealousy, insecurity, and sadness swirled together, but then he took a deep breath and resigned himself to Wyan's love for him. She had never given him any reason to doubt her. Summoning his courage, Jungkook entered the cave. He came to their table. Wyan turned, her eyes widening in surprise and delight as she saw her husband standing there. Jungkook, she exclaimed, her smile lighting up her face. She stood up and wrapped her arms around him in a warm embrace. What are you doing here? This is such a surprise. Jungkook hugged her back, his arms tightening around her. I thought I would join you. Taeyong looked at him, a friendly smile on his face. Hey Jungkook, great to see you, man. Join us. Jungkook nodded, his eyes meeting Taeyong's. Then they all sat there. Jungkook couldn't shake the lingering heaviness in his heart, and it colored his interactions with Taeyong. He spoke little, his response curt and his eyes avoiding Taeyong's friendly gaze. Wyan, never protective, noticed the subtle tension. She sensed the undercurrent of jealousy in Jungkook's demeanor and decided it was best to cut their visit short. Taeyong, she said gently, catching his attention. It was wonderful catching up, but I think we should head home now. Of course, Wyan. It was great seeing you both. Let's catch up some other time. Definitely. Then Taeyong approached to Wyan to say goodbye. Wyan sensed the rising tension in Jungkook as Taeyong approached her. When Taeyong pulled Wyan into a friendly hug, Jungkook's eyes darkened with a mix of jealousy and anger. He couldn't stand seeing another man, even a close friend, holding his wife so intimately. Thank you for today, Taeyong, Wyan said softly as she pulled away from the hug. Her smile genuine but slightly strained as she felt Jungkook's grip tightening on her hand. Anytime, Wyan. Take care, you too. Jungkook gave a curt nod, his jaw clenched, and without another word he guided Wyan out of the cave, his hand holding hers firmly. The drive home was tense, the silence between them thick with unspoken emotions. The tension in their apartment was palpable. Wyan continued to question Jungkook about his behavior at the cave. Jungkook, I need to know why you have behaved like that today at cave. He stood silent there. Jungkook, please talk to me. Why you behaved like that? Unable to contain his frustration and jealousy any longer, Jungkook suddenly grabbed Wyan by the shoulders and pinned her against the wall. His grip was firm, his eyes dark with a mixture of hurt and anger. Wyan gasped in surprise, her hands struggling to push him away, but his hold was tight. Jungkook, what's wrong? He stared at her, his emotions boiling over. I can't stand seeing you with him, he said through gritting teeth. Why is he hugging you like that? Why are you so close to him? I can't take it, Wyan. It drives me crazy. I couldn't stand seeing him hug you, he admitted, his voice tight with emotion. It made me feel angry and jealous. And I know Taeyong is your best friend, but it felt like he was too close, like he was taking something that's mine. Wyan's eyes widened in shock at the intensity of his words. She had never seen him like this before. As she looked into his eyes, she noticed the moisture gathering there, his anger masking a deeper vulnerability. Concern quickly replaced by her fear, she gently reaching up to cup his face. I am sorry, I didn't realize it made you feel this way. Taeyong is just friend, Jungkook. There is nothing more than that. I know, but I can't take it, Wyan. His voice breaking. Wyan's heart ached at the sight of his vulnerability. She stroked his cheek gently, her thumb wiping away a stray tear that had escaped. Jungkook, you are the one I love. Taeyong is a dear friend, but you are my husband, the person I choose to spend my life with. No one can take your place, but I can't show my feelings like he does. I don't know how. You don't have to, Wayan said softly. I understand you, Jungkook. I love you for who you are, not for how you express your emotions. Your action speaks louder than words. You take care of me, you protect me, and you love me in your own way. That's all I need. She saw the struggle in his eyes. Slowly, his hands fell away from your shoulders, his posture collapsing as if the weight of his emotions was too much to bear. I'm sorry, Wayan. I'm sorry for how I acted. I didn't mean to scare you or make you feel uncomfortable. I don't know how to handle it. Wayan stepped closer, wrapping her arms around him in a comforting embrace. It's okay, Jungkook. I understand. Just talk to me next time, okay? We will work through it together. He nodded, his arms coming up to hold her tightly against him. I will, he promised, his voice shaky but sincere. As they stood there wrapped in each other's arms, Wayan felt a surge of love for the man who, despite his struggles, always tried his best to be there for her. Let's sit down, she suggested, gently leading him to the couch. They sat close, her head resting on his shoulder as they took comfort in each other's presence.